Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and today I'm bringing you a book haul. Welcome back to the floor of my reading room because I haven't pulled a chair in a while, and also every surface of the room is sewing supplies. I haven't posted a book haul since March, I haven't filmed a book haul since April, but I never posted my April book haul because it was 5 minutes long and I felt bad about it. Yeah, it's been 4 months. I thought it would be good to film one, and I have the energy and the drive, and also now that I'm close to finishing my TBR, I'm not anticipating bringing in any more books until after I do that, and I'm hoping to at that point do like a big here's all the books I've been wanting to buy but I haven't because I wanted to finish my TBR kind of spree. I think I've recorded everything I hauled. I think. If there is some stuff I've missed, then that's on me. I'm also aware that there are at least 2 books at my workplace, but I can't do anything about that. So until such a time as they are in my hands, they do not exist. They are dead to me books. I'm going to go through in type of book rather than date, largely because it makes things easier to edit. So these were hauled from April all the way through to the end of July. Here's everything I got. I feel like I should have some theme music here. I don't. A lot of these books I have read. I'm very close to finishing my TBR. I'm not going to go into everything I thought about them here because most of the time I'll have talked about them in wrap-ups or in vlogs. If you want to find a specific time where I talked about a book, comment below and I will link you to the right video. So even though I read quite a lot of audiobooks in the last 4 months, I actually only hauled 2 of them, which doesn't feel right now I think about it. I must have hauled Ship of Destiny. It's complicated with audiobooks. Basically, the audiobooks that I've added to my Audible library in the intervening months have included City of Brass, Kingdom of Copper, Poppy War, Mad Ship, Ship of Destiny, that kind of thing. So David Bad Trilogy, rest of the Ship of Magic series, Life Ships trilogy, that's what I'm thinking of, and this month the Poppy War. But I have listened to a lot of other audiobooks. Audiobooks are difficult to track because quite often I will buy an audiobook of a book that I have already read or already own, such as City of Brass, and then how do you record that? Spreadsheets are hard. Moving on to a more exact science, I hauled 2 Kindle books. Only 2. I was very well behaved in the whole of 4 months. 2 Kindle books, one of which is The Gorgon's Gaze by Julia Ember, which is the second book in her Companions Quartet, which is like mythical creatures, Society for the Protection of Mythical Creatures, middle grade, good stuff, and I got that to replace Secret of the Sirens in my June Book a Day in June TBR challenge. I really enjoyed it. I need to see if the other ones are also on sale so that I can finish that quartet. It's really good fun, nice little middle grade-y time. The other Kindle book that I hauled was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which people have been recommending left and right to me. I thought it was great. Absolutely loved it. Tells the story of the rise and fall of a huge rock band through transcripts of interviews with members of the band and kind of surrounding people. It's really clever, it's really human, it's really great. That'll be in my July wrap-up. Right, we're now on to the NetGalley portion of this video, which is the biggest portion of this video. I actually really enjoy a digital review copy because it doesn't take up any space. The Burning God by R.F. Kuang, the last book in the Poppy War trilogy. I was so delighted to be approved for that. It happened really quickly after I requested it, and I had a moment of like, oh, so this means this must be a sampler. There's no way they would just fulfill my request just like that. But I think it's because at the moment, because I'm close to finishing my TBR, my NetGalley percentage is good and high. I have read this, I absolutely loved it. It needs a reread, but I really enjoyed it. That'll be in my July wrap-up. I need to stop telling you what videos things are in. I said comment below. I'm not doing all the work for you. Next on the list, in the arbitrary way that it has sorted itself, I have the 3 NetGalley reads I have yet to read. These are on my August TBR. I have A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, which is a school where you graduate or you die, and it's like a school for magic, but everyone's killing each other. It's going to be great. I have Garth Nix's The Left-Handed Booksellers of London, which is a girl on a quest to find her father, who ends up seeing this shady side of some booksellers. I'm dubious about it, but I'm kind of excited. And Court of Lions by Samaya Dowd, which is the sequel to Mirage, which is a sci-fi meets fantasy YA book that features doppelgangers and court politics and romance and ideas about colonisation and a whole host more, and I'm really excited to get to those 3. I also have Seven Devils by Laura Lam and Elizabeth May. This is a sci-fi feminist, I nearly said sci-fi feminist fantasy, sci-fi feminist YA book that features kind of a band of women revolutionaries in space doing the stuff that they do. There's some romance, there's some sapphic representation, there's just some all around good stuff in a world where everything is controlled by like a big master AI that's in everyone. And it's good and chilling at times, and yeah, it's a good time. I would recommend. Long read. I also have Phoenix Extravagant by Yoon-Ha Lee. This has a full dedicated review up on my channel, I think, at the moment. Everything's gone in a funny order because I pre-filmed some stuff, but I'm pretty sure my Phoenix Extravagant review will be up. Pacifist Mecha Dragon, you need it in your life. Continuing on the subject of books that I have reviewed, Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. I have a dedicated review for that up on my channel. YA dystopian fairy tale, which is, as I've said before, a subgenre I did not know I needed, but I need more of it immediately. I also have A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians by H.D. Parry. Not totally convinced by this one. I've talked about it quite a bit. I don't really want to get into it, but basically it's a historical fantasy mythologization of the events of the abolition of the slave trade in the UK, the French Revolution and the Haitian Revolution, seen through the eyes of an alternative reality where magic is a thing as well. Will that do? I also have The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. Excited to have another video where I can talk about The Bone Shard Daughter. This is, I actually have a physical arc of this. I'm not sure why it's fallen into the NetGalley category. Da-da-da-da. You must be very fed up of hearing me talk about it at this point, so all I will say is if you have not heard of it before, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I love The Bone Shard Daughter. I have a dedicated review for it on this channel, or watch back my last 5 videos or so. I mention it in every single one. It's adult fantasy, but I think it would be good to read if you wanted more of a crossover book, to YA, I mean. Bone magic, revolution, good stuff. I've talked about it so much I can't talk about it anymore. Aurora Burning by J. Christoph and Amy Kaufman. I'd forgotten that I hold this. So many of these I'm like, that was within the last 4 months, because my brain still thinks it is March. It's why I'm still wearing jumpers. Sequel to Aurora Rising, which is Squad in space, YA space. What more do you need me to say? If you love Illumini, you might like this. You will either be, ooh yay, more of this, or oh no, they didn't do as well as they did with Illumini. That's all I'll say. Although Katie has listened to the audiobooks, I think, and quite enjoyed them, and I think because they have a full cast, they are more enjoyable as audiobooks. Last of my NetGalley reads, I have The Challenger by Tara Matharu. This is the sequel to the... I can't remember, but the first one, I think it's the Challenger series. It's complicated, but... and all of the titles begin with C, and I don't know what I'm doing. But this is the teenagers taken out of time have to do battle with various things. I enjoyed it a reasonable amount. I've said in my reviews I like the meta plot of this series much more than I like the actual plot of each individual book. I think there are some opportunities missed in that, but it is a good YA male protagonist, which is not something we find very often, so I will take it where I can get it. If you don't include The Bone Shard Daughter, I have 2 physical arcs. I have... which order am I going in? This way. I have Mayday by Josie Jaffrey. This is vampires in Oxford, vampire detective, bisexuals in Oxford. Not everyone is all of those things, but a good number of people are, and it's a good time. And I have The Once and Future Witches by Alexie Harrow, which is witches in New Salem during the women's suffrage movement who do witchy things to bad people. Is probably all that I need to say about that one. I think I have a dedicated review for that coming out next week, so subscribe if you would like to see that. Now we're on to my owned TBR. Some of these were gifts, some of these I bought for myself. I think it's probably just shy of an even split between the two. So I'm going to start with books I was gifted. I have House of Salt and Sorrows by, I nearly said by Justine, by Erin A. Craig, which I got from Justine. Thank you, Justine. I have a dedicated review for this on my channel. I've been so good with book reviews lately. It's so nice to be able to say that to so many books. Yes, I absolutely adored this. This is 12 Dancing Princesses, haunted house story, YA fantasy, spooky, so good, so good. And I can't remember which order these come in, so I'm going to make a good guess, and if I'm wrong, swap the names around and I apologise. I'm pretty sure that Hold Back the Tide was from Nikki over at Books and Lemon Squash. This is a YA fantasy Scottish loch, light horror, creature from the loch kind of story. I'm not really sure what genre you would put it in, but this is by Melinda Salisbury, who I love. I have read this, I thought it was pretty good. I'd quite like to reread it. It's not as strong as her State of Sorrow books, which I absolutely love. And then Rachel, I believe, sent me This Is How You Lose the Time War, which is an adorable little novella about 2 time agents who are on opposite sides of a war, red and blue, who leave each other letters throughout time and into the future, and things happen and it's just a really, really great story. I said it multiple times, but the first 100 pages took me a while to get into, but the second 100 blew my mind. It was so good. Books that I bought myself, I needed 2 books in a series to kind of round out my TBR for my June TBR challenge, because I had the second book in a series. So I bought books 1 and 3 of the Reckoners trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. That's Calamity and Steelheart, but the other way around, 1 and 3. I really liked Steelheart. I didn't like Calamity at all, and that's probably all I need to say. Brandon Sanderson writes superheroes. The settings are very cool, but the actual characters are a bit annoying and blech. And the 2 most recent books I hauled, this was literally this week. I picked up A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne Brown, which is YA fantasy. I'm so excited to get to this. I think it's going to involve necromancy, and that's my favourite thing. And then I have Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Dow, which I bought because it's not getting a paperback release, and I'm annoyed for her, so I bought hardback because I want to read it, and it's very pretty, and I'm excited for magical flute times. I think I've hauled around 24 books in the last 4 months, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 4 months, which would be 6 books a month, which is pretty good when you think about it that way. I'm not a big book hauler. I'm not one of those people who has like 30 books on a haul every time. Mainly I just don't have the disposable income. A lot of my money goes on rent. So I don't know if I will go back to doing monthly book hauls or if I will stick to doing them kind of quarterly or every 4 months or so. What was nice is to be able to do this having read a lot of them, because quite often I'm just sort of holding it up and going, I don't know, which is what my April haul original footage was. I think that'll do, won't it? We've had a good chat. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for talking about books with me. I'm going to put my coffee down while I do the outro. Thank you very much for joining me. Comment below if you've hauled any of these books. Let me know your number. What have you hauled in the last 4 months? I want to know where you sit on the spectrum of book hauling without being about conspicuous consumption. It's fine. Books are great. You can also you can share if you're that way inclined. You can subscribe, it makes me feel loved and appreciated. Follow me on all of my social media, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. Ooh, wheezy! Last of my NetGalley reads, I have I keep getting this mixed up. I've been looking for the conqueror, but you don't seem to come my way. I didn't cut the camera.